you can't unpluck eyebrows that have been plucked out. I take personal offense because this is my face. This is what people see when they look at me. And now I look like a half a gangster cut in my eyebrow. I don't need that. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are doing well and that you have had an incredible Christmas. Mine was not that festive. The bug hit basically on Christmas Day and it was good for like a couple hours and then the buzz faded and it was not that great. So yeah, not gonna get into that because there's too much to get into. This episode is gonna be a bit long, but hopefully you'll learn something. So yeah. Today's episode is the last one for the year. It's going to be all about reflection and looking back on the highlights, lowlights, and in-betweens of the year. So get yourself a drink, strap in, and just enjoy. First things first. When it comes to reflection, there needs to be a method to your madness. So you need to know how to reflect. And for me, I'm basically going to be looking at every note keeping format I have used for the past year, as well as the podcast episodes and anything else I can think of where I've logged some form of note or date or anything like that, including my bullet journal, my Google Calendar, and my note taking thing that I use for the podcast, because I have a upload scheduled, which is just a document that says upload schedule for the year, and then it's got all the summaries of the episodes, so that's what I use as well. And this is actually a very interesting thing because for this year I used my bullet journal for most of the year, but I didn't record everything accurately in the journal. Like I said, I fell off, I fell on. And some appointments I would actually log not only in the bullet journal, but in my Google Calendar, because there I can set an alarm. So I would set the alarm for an hour before the event. So if I was running late, it's like, okay, you need to speed up, you need to get done. Or say, flip, I forgot I actually had this thing that I had to go do. So there's various methods that I use to log things, and checking out those places really helped me reflect a lot, especially because I tried journaling as well this year, which I'll get into later. But reading back journal entries is always such an emotional roller coaster. And the worst thing is you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to write down just like key points of what happens and I'll expand on it later. And then you don't journal for a month and then you forget and you're just like, what was that even about? So it's a bit of a nightmare, but gathering every piece of data you can for your year is vital to reflecting, because it just shows you your ups and downs. It puts things into perspective. It helps you understand you. One thing I did log was a lot of the events at the beginning of the year that I went to, and I journaled actually a lot about how much I enjoyed it. That I would take as a highlight of my year. Whereas recently, when I was going through the podcast uploads that I did, I remembered seeing the purple blocked October month, which was the month-long break I took, which to me was a low light of the year. And that was just not conducive to any kind of productivity. And it just goes to show you need to log these things so when you do reflect, you can see what's going on. Another thing I noticed is in my Google Calendar, I kind of log episodes that I watch. So there's a TV show I watch, it comes on at a specific time. I tried calendar blocking. So in my Google Calendar, this TV show is every single day at this time. And I'm just like, I watched multiple TV shows. And that takes up multiple time in my day. And it's got me feeling some type of way about it. So, yeah. Speaking of the feelings, as I'm reflecting on these things, I'm also checking in with how I feel about them. So like I said, I journaled about the family events at the beginning of the year, and that was happy, joyful times, you know? Yeah, it was farewell parties and stuff, but just the being together, the enjoying the day, those types of things, I'm taking in how they made me feel. Because if there's any lingering feelings or emotions about these events, I can now process them fully and move on. And that's something that I think we need to do while reflecting. Did this event bring me joy? Would I do it again? I mentioned it was a farewell, so that's like a once-off event. It's not a very happy one, but it can be. And then there's also another once-in-a-lifetime event where I went to my cousin's 30th, and that was awesome. So it's like, was this spending time with family, with friends? Was it a once-off thing? Was it a recurring event I'm going to have to do again? Like for me, was it going for an eyebrow appointment or going for my hair? And how did I feel after this event? Can I do it better by myself? Because a lot of times, we don't realize it's actually an investment. Our money is important to us, and if we're willing to invest it in spending our time and money on doing these things. Because I went for my hair color, I was not happy about it. I went for my eyebrows, they messed up the one, and I honestly feel I can do it better at home, which upset me. Like, looking back, how many times I went, how much money I spent, made me upset. Not only was I mad about the money that I used for it just to be a bad end result. You can't unpluck eyebrows that have been plucked out. That's not up to my standard. I'm expecting a certain level and I'm not getting it. It's not the first time I'm going. I go to you routinely. You should be knowing what you're doing. Not only did I waste my time there, I wasted my money. And time is money. So it's like double as bad as what you think. And that is just something that I'm like processing. As you can hear, I'm still in my feels about it, because I can go buy hair dye and do it myself, which I've done the past year and I've loved it. There was a special going on at the hairdresser. I got the special and I was not happy with the result. So yeah, definitely not happy. I will be doing it with myself going forward, and I'm done. My eyebrows, I got tweezers. I'm just gonna figure it out and get it done myself, because these are things that upset me. It's routine things that need to be done, and I'm just like, no. So I've decided I'm doing my own eyebrows. I'm going to find a different person to cut my hair, because all I need is a trim. I'm fine with it, growing out, but honestly, I can just get it done somewhere else or DIY. I'm not going to cut my own hair. I'm not that brave, but I can pluck my own eyebrows. I can dye my own hair color, and that's okay. So look back on these things, especially the things that are routine, and check in with your feelings about them. Because for me, I get heated, and for other people, it's not a big deal. They're just like, ugh, okay, cool, you're not great, I'm moving somewhere else. Whereas with me, I take personal offense, because this is my face. This is what people see when they look at me, and now I look like a half a gangster cut in my eyebrow. I don't need that. That's not cute. So, no. Speaking of things that's done routinely and repeatedly, when it comes to things that I do tend to do repeatedly, I have to also ask the same thing of, does this make me happy or bring joy or have some sort of long-term benefits? Because for me, keeping up with a workout routine or having a certain vitamin schedule did. It made me happy. It made the endorphins buzz around in my brain. It did all the good stuff. And that's something I want to keep and I want to build on and I want to have more of in my life. And that's a good thing. But if it didn't, the question is, how can I change it up? With my vitamin routines, I went from all the crazy pulls in one day to building a better routine about how I have them. So I don't take everything every day except my collagen, and then I alternate the others. But also, if you find there are different options of how to take it, why not try different ones? For me personally, collagen is a vital thing I take every single day. And I swapped from a collagen pill, like in a capsule, to a collagen fizzy. So it's literally just like a capsule thing I dissolve in water and I drink. And that has changed my life. Because I take so many pills. I don't like taking pills in the first place. And if I'm taking a multivitamin today, probiotic tomorrow, something else the next, like, it's annoying to have to take so many pills, especially like one guaranteed every day. So if you can find an alternative, great. And if you honestly are just miserable by this thing and it's not an essential, scrap it. Like, get absolutely rid of it. And if you can't scrap it, find an alternative, like I did with my bullet journal. Because as I mentioned in that bullet journal episode, and I will link it below, so yes, shameless plug for that episode. It was work. Keeping up with the Bujo was work. But when I used it, it kept me on track. When I was habitual in using it, it worked with me, not against me, but for me. And that is what it is. Asking yourself, is this thing necessary for my life? Is it helping me? And if not, can I find an alternative one, or can I get rid of it? Just because this is you, this is your life, you need to make things as easy and as seamless for yourself as possible. Because it's going to make you feel better in the end. Because it's all about you and your feelings, you know? And with these types of things, these are external feelings and factors. Meaning, these feelings and emotions and things that are brought on came as a result of something outside of yourself. With my eyebrows. Someone else messed up my eyebrows. I get mad seeing it in the mirror because it's someone else. They did that to me. When it comes to internal feelings, like my depression and my burnout, that is internal. That is on me to try and find the pattern and see what I can do. Something that I actually noticed about these internal feelings was for the past few years, it would happen where at least once a year, I would just get depressed or I would burn out and then just not do the podcast for a little while. And that is something I want to avoid in the future because my health is going to be a priority. And by looking at what could be avoided and what was inevitable, I can figure out how to improve my life in order to either catch myself when I see it happening or prevent it happening at all. You know, I'm not trying to say, and this is a huge disclaimer, that mental illnesses can be cured by some diary or book or anything like that. No. But there are certain patterns in your life that can trigger these bouts of depression and burnout. And finding ways to take care of yourself and especially your mental health can help you avoid a full-on episode. With me, that results in like a month-long break. And then I come back and then I'm still half there, but I'm just trying to get through it. So it's not fun. It's not easy. It's not cute, but that's what it is. So to put small things in place for yourself in order to be able to make sure you don't burn out, that you don't fall into a deeper depression than what you're already going through. Those are things that you need to look back on and reflect on. For me, it was burnout. I was just exhausted. The year had already taken a mental toll on me. I never had a proper break and I was just not doing well. And I kept trying to go at 100 when I barely had 10 in the tank. That was all on me. But the thing is, if I had small things in place to fill up my cup, to give me energy, to just take a back seat and just relax and rest, I would have been fine. Because these are the stuff where people say prevention is better than cure. If you can prevent it, great. Do that. I'm not going to go further into this because I have a New Year's episode planned, or rather an episode in the New Year planned to explain the habits, the routines and systems I'm going to be putting in place to avoid these kinds of things. So that'll be a later episode. But for now, we're going to move on to the overall green, yellow and reds of my year. So, like the traffic light system, the green things are things that I absolutely love, 100% would do them again, or I would like to incorporate them into my life. Reds are things I hated, I want to avoid, and I will try and find alternatives if I cannot avoid them or scrap them. And then lastly, the yellows are things to watch out for, and they can swing either way depending on me. So the yellow can either become a green or it can be a red, depending. So here we go. The greens for my year was visiting with family and friends. those are things I absolutely adored. I went to coffee with my cousin. I met up with my friend. We went for a wine tasting. We just had a blast this year. I'm actually meeting up with another friend soon. And I also went out with another friend a few times last year as well. So those are all things I absolutely loved. I met up with family several times as well. And I definitely want to do that again. So I'm definitely doing that. I'm definitely communicating more with my friends, because just talking to them occasionally was really, really good. That is something I definitely want to do more this year or this coming year. And then another green for me was planning, prepping and planning. I will say my year was a bit hectic, very up and down in extremes, but planning really just changed the game for my podcast this year. Yes, I did take a month-long break in October. We know this. But at that point in time, I had actually had all the episodes planned out and I had the research done. I just never sat down to record them and edit and upload them, which it annoyed me, but it is what it is. So that was great. Like, the planning and prepping was awesome, and I definitely want to step that up going forward. I had a system in place for that, which I really love, and theming the episodes for each month changed the game. Like, that was the best thing, because I had a theme I could follow. I could figure out how many episodes I needed to get through for the month. I could figure out this was the theme, this is how I'm going to tackle it, done and dusted. So that to me was the best green. I'm definitely going to do that, and that is a number one thing. So not only was planning for the podcast a green, planning my life was also a green. Like, sitting down, figuring out what I'm going to declutter, what I'm going to minimize, especially digitally, that was a huge thing in protecting my mental health and mental space. Because the world has changed so much. We don't have as much physical clutter as we do digital clutter and backlog, and that can actually be way more weighing on the mind, because if there's a whole bunch of stuff in the way, you can throw it in a box, throw it in a cupboard, move on. Digital clutter does not become as visual as that, you know? It's all hidden. You have to go hunt for where this thing is and then declutter it. So doing a whole lot of digital decluttering, physically, digitally, mentally, helped me a lot. And getting intentional about my life was the starting point for that. So intentionality was another good one that I did this year that I'm definitely taking into next year, because intentionality and getting intentional about my life literally made me sit down, ask the hard questions, make a vision for my life, and actually work on it in a proactive way. So my biggest green out of all of them was intentionality. That is the number one. That is it. Done and dusted. Moving on to the raids for the year. The biggest raid for me was the break I took for October. And let me just be 100% clear. I don't regret the breaks that I've ever taken. None of them. I've taken almost a break every single year since podcasting. I don't regret it. What I do feel upset about, mad about, not happy about, was the fact that I neglected myself to the point of burnout, and therefore having to force myself to take an entire month off so that I can slow down and recover. Like, it's raid for a reason. I need to stop, I need to look, I need to realize why this is happening so that I don't do it again. So, once again, I'm not mad about the break I took. I'm mad about the fact that I got burnt out and had to be on forced leave from the podcast, because I don't want to repeat it. I don't want to work myself into the ground in order to, do something. That is not good, because you're not going to be putting your best foot forward. And it's something I'm definitely not wanting to repeat. That's a mistake. I want to learn from it and do better. So definitely upset about the break I took because of the burnout, not the break. So that's my first raid. Another raid was letting people affect me in such a way that I was completely distraught by their words. Like, shook. And this is me referring to the Blame Game episode, another plug which I'm not even happy to make because I was very upset. but it's just going to emphasize the point that there was miscommunication and misunderstanding, and I don't want that happening again. I want clear communication. I want myself to be understood, and I want to understand others, and that is something I want to work on going forward. So red is miscommunication and misunderstanding. I don't want them. I don't need them. They are not conducive, so I'm leaving them in 2023. Another thing to just go on the tail end of that was I was recently told I'm argumentative, and I want to figure out that nugget of wisdom, because 100% it is true. But hearing it explained to me in that way has made me more aware of myself, which is a good thing, I think, ? So I want to work on those things, and being understanding of that phrasing that I've been called argumentative is a very good thing, because now I can understand, okay, so you see me as being argumentative, because I do. I argue a point till I'm blue in the face. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. But that just means I can now be more clear in my explanations of things. I can bring my point across better, and I can try and do it in a way that does not come off as argumentative. Because the moment I start, you're already like, oh, she's arguing with me. And I'm just going to be like, let me take a step back, let me rephrase, and let me give it to you in a different way so that we don't miscommunicate and don't misunderstand. See? I'm learning already. So, yeah. Another big red for me was not finding a different job. This is something I'm hustling on. I was literally working on it before I recorded this episode, and it's something I want to do in the new year. I am going to get a new job in the new year, and if not, make progress on finding a new career path. So that is my thing. I've been saying for basically 2 years I'm going to get another job, and I haven't. I did get interviews last year, or rather this year. I keep already thinking the year's done. Okay, sorry. I have been applying for jobs. I've gotten a couple of interviews, and I just didn't get the jobs in the end, which is okay, but I definitely need to work on that. So yay. Another red was not taking care of myself, which, hello, very much understandable, because I burnt out. I fell off the wagon. There was many factors, okay? I wasn't fueling myself properly. I wasn't doing enough self-care. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't doing the bare minimum required. And then I also just didn't take time off to enjoy peace and quiet. I worked hard. I should relax as well. And I never did. One thing I did, which sounds counterintuitive, was I started watching old Parks and Recs episodes that came on the TV. They finally got season 1, and I just enjoyed it because there were some parts that I missed, because my family tends to watch things really quickly and I don't watch at that speed. But not taking care of myself to even just sit and enjoy a TV show or a movie is a big glaring red that I want to avoid. So I want to make time to watch series, to watch movies, to enjoy things. And I don't binge stuff, which I've spoken about previously, but I don't like to binge watch TV shows or movies or anything like that. So making time to sit and properly watch something is a form of self-care for me. And not taking care of myself this past year has shown, and I want to avoid that going forward. So that is my final red. My yellows for this year has been my goals. I set goals, I barely achieved them, and reflecting back, I realized I didn't set proper goals, to the point that I ended up just updating on my goals for this year because they just weren't that good. I didn't set proper goals. I didn't make them smart. I didn't know why I was setting them. So for the new year, I'm going to find goals that I truly want to achieve. They are going to be smaller goals based on a big picture. They are going to be smart. I'm going to be intentional about why I'm setting the goals, because they always say you need to have a why. And I'm definitely going to focus on what I can do now to make a dent in the big picture. So my goals are already something I've been working on. I set a few for this year so far, and I'm definitely going to set better goals, because this is why it's a yellow. I can set the goals and I can either be red and like, nope, I need to get rid of them, or be green and be like, yes, I'm gonna hunker down. So there's that. Another yellow was my finances, and I wanted to do better in my financial goals, and I think I did achieve some of them, but it's not great. I want to improve on my finances, and this was why I wanted to get a better job. I did do the whole lifestyle creep episodes and things like that, but I wasn't focused enough. I didn't have clear goals, especially for the finances. So I've rewritten them. I've gotten really, really intentional about them, and I'm gonna go for it next year. So fingers crossed. Yeah, I actually read a finance book. I have a email I'm subscribed to that really helps with it. So I work hard for my money, and I want my money to work for me as well. So yes, I think that is key, especially with the way things are changing in the world. Your money is going to need to work for you, and in this economy, it needs to work twice as hard. So, yay. Another yellow for me this year has been journaling. And once again, it's this thing that can go either way. I tried to consistently journal, and I failed. For the past while, I've been trying to journal consistently, even if it's at 11:53 at night, which is an actual time. Just whether it's 2 sentences, whether it's a paragraph, whether it's 3 pages, trying to journal every single day has been helping me deal with my emotions and regulate myself a lot. And it's been working fairly well, and I'm going to try and stick to it until next year and forever on afterwards, because it will help so much with reflection, but also just processing day-to-day emotions. You know, we think of something that happened in the day, we're writing it down, that leads on to something else, and then suddenly you're just like, yeah, no, what? And you're writing it down, and you're processing, and you're doing good for yourself. So journaling is the biggest yellow I want to make better in next year. But yeah, those were my green, reds, and yellows. My year has been fairly up and down, like I said. I've had high moments with friends and family, low moments in just personal neglect, and then everything in between. Podcast-wise, I took a break, but I was okay with that. But otherwise, I've been absolutely consistent, which I'm proud of. And then I slayed Podmas. Like, I'm super proud of that. It finished a couple days ago. I was so proud of that. Yeah. Podcast-wise, I'm very happy. And I hope next year will be better. I've got some things planned. A potential rebrand, a potential something else. So we'll see. But yeah, to wrap up this long episode. Reflection has and will forever always be an important factor in your life for each aspect of your life. So reflection is good. Reflecting on each aspect is better. And I even included this. I understood the importance of reflection a while back, to the point that I made a monthly reflection in my bullet journal, which I didn't keep up with. Yeah, we know. But just having it there made me think, okay, what was a highlight? What was a low light? What could I improve on? You know, how far did I get in my goals? Reflecting is important. And whether you reflect once a month on everything, once a week, however you do it, reflection is important. Do that. It's made a huge difference for me. And I think if I journaled more consistently, I would have been able to better reflect on my year. But what I did, I think, is really, really good. I'm obviously not telling you everything I found out about myself. Those are lessons I'm going to take into next year. But I do think it's important. And if there is one thing I want you to take away from this episode, which is the final for the year, just by the way, like soon it's a whole new year. The thing to take away is that you are only in competition with yourself, no one else. If this year wasn't great for you, that's okay. Reflect on why that is and why you say so, and figure out your own green, reds, and yellows. You know, what can you change? What can you do better next year? What do you want to incorporate? What do you want to cut out on? Like, figure out those things for yourself. Reflect on them, if you will. And try and be better for yourself, for your future. It's literally all about you. You are the main character. Whatever phrase you want to use, the world that you live in revolves around you. No one else is going to take care of you. They're busy taking care of themselves. You need to sort yourself out. Your past is your past. You can't change it. You can only reflect on it, learn from it, and move on. So, yeah. That brings me to the song of the week, which is Used to Be Young by Miley Cyrus. She did a beautiful little 3-song performance. It's up on her YouTube channel, and this was one of the songs she performed along with Flowers and Jingle Bell, I think, and it was incredible. And that's the beauty of this particular song. She speaks about, yes, she did these things, she made these mistakes, but it's because she used to be young. She's grown, she's learned, and that's the thing. You did things when you were younger. Yesterday you were younger than you were today. You learn from it, you do better, you move on. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope you had a good year. If not, it's fine. Next year you can try again. Or tomorrow. Why wait for a new year? Do you? I hope your Christmas was good. I hope you had a fabulous festive season. I hope you enjoy the rest of the time you have left for this year. And I hope you have a happy new year. That's it from me. I'll see you next year in the next episode. Keep being a better being, especially in this festive time. And yeah, love you. Bye.